Hello Mindset Transformation Team. I'm actually filming this video in my new house where I haven't moved into yet because we're still waiting for it to be able to close. But we had to come through and do an inspection today. In my Airbnb, the internet is down, so I'm not able to film or upload anything. So committed, right? I absolutely want to make sure that I post content in here every day, and I promise we talk to some stuff about goal setting. As a matter of fact, every day this week, I'm going to give you a new tip or thought or idea on setting your goals for 2021. And we're going to start today with just an absolutely beautiful framework that I got from one of my coaches, Dean Graziosi. And I've been working with Dean as I'm learning how to get into the knowledge business and how to work in digital spaces and on digital platforms. And he took us, his team, if you will, through a training that I'd like to give you an abbreviated version of it because he shared 7 tools that you can use going into 2021 to make sure that the goals that you set not only are the right goals in the right order, but you're going to be able to execute and get a return on them. And really this follows through the idea that before you do anything, the emotional state you're in is going to determine and drive the outcome. You could want to show up and have a great date night with your wife, but if the emotional state you're in is anger and frustration, you're not going to show up the way that you want to be. You could be absolutely committed to having a great day at work and really be able to sell cars, parts, or service, but if your emotional state is one of depression or loneliness or fear, you're not going to be able to step up and perform. You have the talent, skill, and ability, but whether or not you're able to access that talent, skill, and ability, a lot depends on your emotional state. And all of us tell ourselves stories. And most of us tell ourselves stories that make us feel bad and not good. And the first thing that I want you to understand is the story that you tell about 2020, you get to decide. And if you want to really focus on all the things that went bad and wrong and everything, and that's all you focus on, that will be a reality. If you want to focus on all the things that went right, that will be a reality. My experience has been balance is the key in everything. Between work and play, between time on and time off. Everything in nature functions on an ebb and a flow. The tide goes out, the tide comes in. It's day, it's night. Finding that balance is where everything happens. And so for 2020, we need a balance of what went on so that we can make effective choices in going into 2021. There's a lot of people that are just like, I just want to forget 2020, get it all behind me, start over again. That reminds me of the guy who got married. True story, a friend of mine was sharing with me that he was talking to a good friend of his. This is a very successful executive. And that executive was on his 4th wife, and they were looking at getting divorced. And he was worried about it. And he called and said, you know what? I got great news. I talked to my therapist today about what's going on, and I finally realized the problem. I have a selection problem. I just picked the wrong people. No, he did not have a selection problem. He had a him problem. But he wanted to blame it on selection. And so each new marriage, he brought the same person with the same problems into the new marriage and recreated the same problem 4 times in a row. Do you know anybody like that? Have you ever seen anyone like that in the mirror? Well, when you try to just forget the past and move on without really learning from the past, what you do is you doom yourself to repeat those mistakes and what's going on. So tool number 1, or principle number 1 I want you to take, which is let's get settled on 2020. And I want to start with this. Go through your phone. You have pictures all through 2020. And they're all dated, because whether you have an Android or an iPhone, they're all dated. And look at your pictures, and here's what I want you to do. I want you to pick out one picture for each month. One for January, one for February, one for March, that really resonates with you emotionally, that really connects with you emotionally. So for Sherry, my wife, and I picked one out from February where it was just this beautiful day in the mountains. We were still living in Utah at the time, and it was a crystal clear blue day, snow on the mountains. We were getting ready to go up to the ski lodge and go skiing, and it just reminded me of how beautiful winter is up in the mountains, how much I love spending time and hanging out with Sherry, and how really great that time was and what's going on. Does that see what I mean by I want you to take one photo for each month, and then I want you to write down or jot down, why is that meaningful to you? What does it mean? And then share it with someone. You can even, I did this, you make a little slideshow and share it with your family and tell them all the great things that happened for you during 2020. I think you'll find that a powerful exercise. That's number 1. Number 2 is we need to kind of look at 2020 and say, what happened that was good? I've been wanting to write a book for 10 years. And finally, because of COVID, I started writing the book. I got shut down. I had time to force and focus. And now, first draft of that book is done. I want to carry that forward. That's not something I want to leave behind. I want to bring that forward into 2020. I've become much more adept in the digital world and being able to do Zoom calls, work digitally, coach over the phone, create videos and distribute them and share them. All of that, I wasn't in that business. That didn't happen to me beforehand. I want to carry that forward. So what I want you to kind of stop and take a look at is, what do I want to carry forward? But secondly, what do I want to leave behind? What do I want to make sure dies there? There's certain things that happened in 2020 that were painful. We want to leave them behind. But before we leave them behind, we want to extract or draw from them the lessons. So number 2 tool is, I want you to write down a list, your top 10 if you will, the top 10 things that went wrong, where things got sideways, where things blew up, where you felt hurt, where you felt left behind, where it was really hard and difficult, where you got smacked in the face. What were those things? For me, it had to do with the changes that with COVID, losing business, wondering, and I talked to you about why we're creating the group. Part of this came out of that moment where I realized I have to pivot. I have to do something different. So I want you to write all of those things down. And what are the top 10? Now here's the key. In all of that, for each one of them, I want you to write down one lesson. Where's in a pile of crap, when the world craps on you, there are nuggets of gold. Dig through there and find. Now, some of you are worried, put on the gloves so you can keep yourself clean and safe. But dig through that and look at what's the lesson, what's the value, what's the insight, why was it worth going through this pain? Because if you don't extract learning out of it, then the pain seems meaningless and worthless. But if you can take meaning out of it and carry that forward, that changes the game for just about everything. So, first thing you're going to do is you're going to jot down what are those 10, 5, 3 if you want, things that just smacked you in the face, where things went sideways. Then you're gonna write each of them down and you're gonna draw out of that, what was the lesson that I learned? So you can leave all the pain and all the drama and all the difficulty and disappointment in 2020. We're just gonna bury it and move on. But the lessons, who we're becoming, the growth, that's what we're gonna take forward into 2021. So the bad we leave behind in 2020, the growth we're going to take forward. Now, the next thing is, what worked in 2020? What were some of the things, and I want you to do the same list. What are 5 or 10 things that worked really well? Things you never did before. Things that you did with more purpose and more intentionality. Things you did with greater focus. I have so many people talk about family dinners became better, spending time with their family got better, the quality of their relationship with their spouse got better. Now on the other side, I have some people, they were home so much they ended up getting divorced. So this cuts both ways. I don't know what's gonna fall in your list, but once we get looking at everything that went wrong and we extract the learning and the nuggets from that, now make a list of what went right. And again, why do you wanna carry that forward? How can you schedule that? How can you make that a habit? How can you build that into 2021 so it's part of who you are from an intentional standpoint and it's not just accidental in 2020 and it'll get left behind because we didn't intentionally carry it forward. So, fourth thing that I want you to kind of look at, and this is really important. In a lot of my coaching, I will share with people that I can help you sell more cars, parts, and service, but so can thousands of other people. What makes my coaching different from many people in my field is I'm not just going to help you sell more cars, parts, and service for a higher variable margin with an elevated customer experience. I'm going to do that, but I'm going to do that in a way that you become a better husband, a better wife, a better mother, a better father, a better friend, that you become a better version of yourself in the process of achieving more. Because lots of people can achieve more and you can become something that you and other people don't like in the process. But to become the best version of yourself while achieving, that's what I'm about. That's my coaching and that's where I go through. So I want you to apply that to this. So now that you've known, here's where I got smacked in the head in 2020 and what I'm taking out. Here's where I did well in 2020 and this is what I'm bringing forward. Now I want you to look at who do you want to become in 2020 and who do you not want to become? So you learn a lot of difficult and great lessons about yourself. And as you learn those lessons that we just went through, I want you to start number 4 and write a list of 3, 5, 6 statements. Who do you not want to be in 2020? You know what I don't want to be? I don't want to be the angry dad. because boy, I felt that when the stress and everybody being together and I felt myself being really afraid. I don't want to be that person anymore. I liked learning how to manage the stress, connecting more deeply with my children, connecting better with my wife, and being able to show up for my clients in a way where I could manage my own frustration and go through. Another thing that you don't want to be, think through that list. Who do you not want to be based on what you learned in 2020? Now, number 5 is very similar. Who do you want to become? Who do you want to be in 2020? For me, one of the key things is I want to be better at being outward focused. I noticed that when I first went through all of the challenges and difficulties through March and April and May, was I felt this tendency to start to turn inward, to protect myself, to take care of myself, to focus on me. But what I wasn't really focused on was everybody else. And what I'm really asking you to do here is focus on how can you, for me, my thing, who do I want to be in 2021? I want to be someone that's more outside focused, that isn't so concerned about himself, but he's concerned about the people around me. And I felt for years, if you help enough other people get what they want, you can have anything that you want. And that's where I'm going to ask you to focus. So number 4 is, who do you not want to be in 2021? Number 5 is, who do you want to be in 2021? Now we've set a foundation and a framework. Now you're ready to set some goals. So once you've done the pictures, right, and gone through and connected to all the beautiful moments that came out of 2020, then you went through the hard times and extracted the learning, the good times, and be intentional about carrying it forward. You're clear about who do you not want to be anymore? What do you want to leave behind in 2020 and not carry forward with you to 2021? And then, based on the insights, the learnings, the experiences, things that have gone on, who do you want to be in 2021? This is powerful. Now you're in a frame of mind and a mindset that you can sit down and set goals that are really going to make a difference, that are really going to help you show up well. And so I want you to now write down the goals and think of it in these areas. In your professional life, what are some of the things you want to accomplish? In your personal life, what are some of the things that you want to accomplish? And then create a third bucket for something, for everything else that's not professional and personal that you want to accomplish and get done in your life. Now, from that state, write those goals. And now the last thing is I want you to take your top 3 goals. This is number 7. So top 3 goals, and what I want you to do at this point is attach an emotion or a feeling to that. So for me, if one of my goals is to finish my book and get it published. And the feeling I'll have with that is pride and joy. I'm going to be proud of myself that after 10 years of talking about this, I finally took uncomfortable action and I did it. And that's really great. And I'm going to feel joy because it's my way of giving back all these great things I've learned, all the mentors that have helped me along the way. I have a chance to make an impact and make a difference in people's lives because I took the time to write it down. So you're going to take each of these goals and then you're going to write down what's the emotion that you're going to feel when you achieve it. And I want you to start associating strong emotions with each of those goals. The more you rehearse and review and re-experience that process, and you keep going back to goal, emotion, goal, emotion, goal, emotion, pretty soon you're going to think of the goal, and boom, the emotion's going to come, and that's going to give you the energy to take action and move forward. Or you're going to feel that emotion, and boom, you're going to think about your goal, which will also drive you towards taking action. So I hope you can find these 7 steps useful, and then each day the rest of the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm going to be sharing with you another tip, thought, tool, or idea on what I found is helpful in going from insight to action and being able to take what you know and turn it into what you do. So come back, let me know. Please feel free to share this link in this video with anybody that you know, because I'm really trying to build a community of people that want to talk about things that matter with people who care. And I invite you to help me in part of this journey and what we do. So take the 7 steps, write them down, do your homework, and post them. Please feel free to share with me what you did, maybe it's one of the pictures that stuck out, but share with the group how going through this exercise has helped you and what you're getting out of it. So thanks a lot. Look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow.